Hello viewers, welcome to the Bachelor course of Population Studies. Today we will discuss problems of family planning in India. Among the countries, India ranks second in the population and seventh in land area. India's landscape is just 2.4% of the world's surface area, whereas its population is nearly 17.5% of the world population. Every sixth person in the world is an Indian. India is densely populated. The country's resources are very limited to meet the needs of its people. The expectations of the masses are rising. An expanding population further strains the sustenance capacity of a fixed land. The rapid rate of growth of population is acting as a great deterrent in the country's effort to raise the standard of living of every citizen through planned development within the framework of a democratic government. A considerable progress has been made in all fields of development during the successive 5-year plan periods, but the results of the progress have been largely neutralized by excessive growth of population. The present and probable rate of economic growth has little chance of meeting the new burdens. A large number of school-age children are already out of schools. People whose labor could contribute to the rapid build-up of the economy are out of jobs. Per capita food consumption has decreased, and in spite of the ambitious housing program, there are still a large number of families without houses. All this is the outcome of the population growth. The growth must be strictly and precisely regulated in accordance with the growth of material resources, primarily agricultural and industrial resources. Rapid growth of population in India can effectively be lowered by resorting to family planning methods. Family planning means enlarging the size of the family in accordance with its income. The small size will improve the standard of living of the family, or at least check it from falling. It therefore implies to have children by choice and not by chance, by design and not by accident. In other words, conscious acceptance of small family norm and proper spacing of children are the thrust of family planning program. The UN report has clearly mentioned that the rate of population growth has slowed down in recent years due to effective implementation of family planning and family welfare programs. Next is measures adopted by government for family planning. The Government of India have adopted a number of measures to check the ever increasing population of the country. Some of these measures are: number 1, broadcasting programs on family planning; second, family welfare program; third, medical termination of pregnancy; fourth, maternal and child health program; fifth, non-family planning measures. Next is problems of family planning in India. There are so many problems or obstacles in the way of family planning program in India which cannot be ignored. Till now, only 48% of eligible couples are participating in this program. In short, the main problems in the way of family planning in India are: number 1, illiteracy. One of the biggest hurdles in the population control is illiteracy, and conservative mindset. Large sections of the people of India are tradition bound and religious in their attitudes, who do not accept easily new ideas and modern outlook. Second problem is conservative mindset. Due to the conservative mindset of the Indian people, the abortion is considered unacceptable among traditional Islamic, Christian and Hindu families. Third problem is poverty. The majority of the Indian population is poor. They cannot afford expenses on the preventive measures of family planning. They also prefer more children since the children are expected to contribute to the income of the family. Fourth problem is tradition bound people. India is an agrarian economy and most of our people live in villages, are engaged in agriculture. They prefer to have more children as it would mean more hands to help on the field. Fifth problem is lack of finance. The introduction of family planning program require a lot of funds, and in a developing country like India, there will always be the funding constraints. So, the availability of adequate finances is a hurdle for family planning programs in the country. Sixth is religious in attitudes. Being religious, the people generally do not observe family planning. Birth control is forbidden by some religious sections such as Catholic and Islam. Seventh is no power to women regarding family planning. In many male-dominated societies in the developing world, women are not empowered to take decisions regarding family planning. Eighth is resistance to new ideas and modern outlook. Most of the people in India are fatalist. They regard every child as a gift of God. They are resistant to new ideas and do not believe in the worth of family planning. Ninth is caste restriction on occupation. In India, caste restrictions on occupation also help to slow down transformation of society and process of development. Thus, a positive and favorable attitude among the people towards birth control is essential, for which large scale literacy is necessary. 10th is untrained health workers. The health workers recruited by the Family Welfare Department are grossly ill-equipped for the difficult task assigned to them. They do not have proper training for primary health care and in particular maternal and child care for rural areas. Moreover, there is no system of feedback and interaction between health workers and their superiors stationed at the headquarters. 11th is multiple approaches. The government has been experimenting with a variety of approaches to provide family planning services to the people. It started with a clinical approach, switched over to the extension approach, to target oriented approach, to selective approach, to method specific target approach, and to decentralized area specific planning approach since 1996. Such policy changes have created confusion and indecisiveness in the minds of the field staff connected with the family welfare program. 12th point is bias against girl child. In some countries like India, a girl is considered a liability as dowry has to be paid to get her married. So, people want to have a son as it would be of greater use economically. Until a son is born, women keep on conceiving. 13th is state sponsored. The family welfare program in India is formulated, sponsored and financed by the central government uniformly throughout the country, but it is implemented by the states at their district, block and village level bureaucrats. Such an indiscriminate and macro program is counterproductive in India, where there are diversities of caste, creed, religions, customs, etc. Thus, it is not keeping with the local needs and circumstances of different types of people and is counterproductive. Next point is lack of basic infrastructure. In remote and rural area, hospitals are often geographically too far and transportation is inadequate or unavailable. So, many people have to go without any form of medical help or are dependent on very basic facilities through small clinics or mobile hospitals on wheels. There is a dependence on herbal medicine and home remedies. Next problem is gender discrimination. Due to gender discrimination in many male dominated societies, men consider it below their dignity to use contraceptive tools in their households. Next problem is emphasis on quantitative targets. One of the main weaknesses of this state-sponsored program has been to achieve quantitative method specific targets of the acceptors of family planning. Next problem is interstate disparities. The family welfare program has failed to check interstate disparities in respect of population growth. Rather, it has widened them as revealed by the 2011 census. It shows that among all the states, Uttar Pradesh continues to be the most populous state in the country with a population of 199.8 million. The other empowered action group states that figure in the 10 most populous states of the country are Bihar 104 million, MP 72.6 million and Rajasthan 68.5 million. The population of 8 empowered action group states comprised nearly half, that is 45.9% of the country's population in 2011. Next problem is confined to urban areas. The propaganda of family planning has been largely confined to urban areas and that too among the educated masses. Little has been done to propagate it in states where the birth rate is very high and the majority of population is illiterate and lives in villages. As a result, backward states like Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha have remained almost unaffected by family planning programs, as observed here. Next problem is lack of experienced medical personnel. There have also been practical difficulties in the implementation of family welfare and child care programs due to the lack of experienced doctors, nurses, midwives and other related staff, couples cannot be persuaded and their faith and trust cannot be won for the adoption of various family planning methods. Besides, even the quality of services has been poor. This has been one of the important factors for the failure of this program. Next problem is lack of cheap contraceptives. There is the lack of cheap contraceptive available in India, which may be readily adopted by couples in the reproductive age group. Family planning surveys have revealed that the majority of couples in the reproductive age group do not want more children but are reluctant to use contraceptives. Next problem is decline in vasectomies. There has been a steady and progressive decline in acceptors of vasectomy over the last decades. Presently, over 97% of sterilizations are tubecotomies of women. Next it comes suggestions to remove the problems of family planning in India. Though the government has taken a lot of measures to control the birth rate, yet these efforts have not produced the desired results in controlling the population. There is a requirement of adopting some other measures. These are: number 1, spread of education. More and more people should be made literate. Women should get more employment opportunities so as to raise their social status. People should be made more conscious about health and family welfare. Second suggestion is more financial assistance. By way of incentive, financial assistance be given to those families who adopt any of the birth control devices like tubecotomy or laparoscopy operations. Third suggestion is cheap and effective methods. Cheap, effective and useful methods of birth control should be evolved so that people may make full advantage of the same. Publicity. The message of family planning, its need, significance and methods should reach the masses, especially the rural folk. They should be assured that no device of family planning is harmful. This task can be performed with the help of TV, radio, cinema and newspaper. Next suggestion is strong measures. In India, family planning program is voluntary. Some strong measures like banning civil rights, government jobs, contesting elections, etc. can be taken to implement family planning programs and to achieve the targeted growth rate of population. Next suggestion is facility of family planning. Hospitals in urban and rural areas should have satisfactory arrangements of family planning facilities. Large number of family planning centers should be set up. These centers should make available the contraceptives to the people either free of cost or at very low cost. Next suggestion is change in social outlook. Social outlook of the people must be changed if family planning program is to succeed. Misgivings about family planning should be removed. Poor people should be prevented from sending their kids as laborers. Then alone they will stop giving birth to more children. Next suggestion is fall in infant mortality rate. Infant and maternal mortality rates should be brought down. Provision should be made for good diet, effective medicines, cleanliness, vaccinations against epidemics, clean drinking water, etc. Next is late marriage. In order to check the growing population of the country, cult of late marriage should be spread among men and women to counteract the effects of early marriage. Next session is development of small family norm. People should be taught about the benefits of small family such as material comforts, better diet and health, better educational and cultural opportunities, and better care for children. Such expectations ultimately lead to the development of the small family norm. Next session is industrialization and urbanization. If social outlook is changed, then there will be decline in growth rate of population. This is possible through economic, social and cultural changes which can be brought about by economic and social development through industrialization, urbanization and modernization so as to raise the standard of living of the people. Next is introduction of population education as a subject. Besides spreading formal education, population education as a subject should be introduced in schools and colleges. It should be introduced gradually. The curriculum should be developed carefully and include the nature, causes, determinants and consequences of population growth on the family and the nation. Next session is introduction of short-term orientation courses. Short-term orientation courses can be introduced for teachers, parents and social workers. Population education will become more effective and meaningful if the parents and the community are involved in education being imparted in schools and colleges. The next point is formal and informal education for girls. To control population growth, both formal and informal education is essential for girls and women. All girls must be made literate. Education of girls holds the key to the reduction in the reproduction rate. Joining the school or colleges for acquiring the education delays the age of marriage, which results in reducing their childbearing years. Their prospects of finding employment and earning also increase with education. The next is raising the status of women. The best way to reduce the family size and control population growth is to raise the status of women. This can be done by educating women and providing them employment opportunities outside the home. An educated non-working wife understands the importance of having a small family of a decent standard of living and better education for children. The next session is voluntary agencies. Voluntary agencies can play a very important role through non-formal programs in rural areas and poor urban areas. In this context, the service youth club, labor unions, women's organizations, religious and social societies, panchayats and gram sabhas, village level societies can go a long way in educating the people towards the importance of the small family norm. The next is incentives and disincentives. Incentives and disincentives play an important role in the family planning program. Incentives may be in the form of social or economic rewards paid to an individual to delay or limit the size of the family. Incentives in cash or kind, especially to the poor and illiterate sections of the society, encourage the couples to undergo sterilization. On the other hand, disincentives are the withdrawal of a certain benefits and facilities to couples whose family exceeds the desired family norm. This method has helped in controlling birth in China. In India too, women working in government organizations are not entitled to maternity benefits for the third child. To conclude, it can be stated that the family planning program in India has been in operation for more than 5 decades, but it has not been able to reduce the infant mortality rate, crude birth rate and total fertility rate to a level which should achieve the objectives of population stabilization even in the next 50 years. The need is to motivate, educate and spread the family planning program among the masses, to strengthen the government program and to rope in non-government organizations for the success of family planning programs. Involvement of literate, backward, poor sections of society is must. Political parties should also propagate this program for its success. Countless studies have pointed out that in villages only the media which answer people's questions instantaneously can help in family planning. The block extension and the health assistants have been assigned only this role. If the health, social and economic advantages of having a small family are understood by the people, the population problem will be solved to a large extent. Thus, as remarked by a demographist, education is the best contraceptive. Another said, education is the key of keys to the population problem. That is all for today. In next lecture, we will continue with some related issue. Thank you.